Reggie Ponder, the Real Critic, and this is the Real Critics Network. I know you're probably thinking, do you guys really have a network? Because we ain't seen you in a minute.
Well,
We,
one of
we,
us was globetrotting through Europe.
we got a network, but you know how sometimes like your cable go down. The power thing went down for a minute, but we back. I'm here
Now
with
he was like a real European. You know how the people in Europe take off like June, July. That was Reggie. Reggie said, "I'm European for the summer. I'm taking off June, July."
so I don't even have to introduce you. Already know that's my co-host Katia Woods. Katia, how are you? How are you? How are you?
Good. I'm good. I can't complain. You know.
Well, that's good. Well, that's a couple of things. Last time we talked, you had a major anniversary and you went off and enjoyed yourself. And you told me that Kevin had a good time.
Yes, Kevin. Normally, when we go on vacation as a family, Katarina is my beach buddy. But Kevin, actually, we went. He sat on at the pool. He got a little barbecued. You know, that light skinness it came out. He got a little barbecued. We had to put a little aloe vera on him. You know, we did pool time on the boat. We did beach time in Jamaica. We did Go what else we did? We did beach time. We had a really good time at the Cayman Islands. We were out there, but I
Oh,
want to say St. John's, where we had the beach was really not crowded because we really did not want to do excursions. We wanted to relax, and we just were like at the beach club on the beach, just really, really enjoying
wow.
ourselves, having our little pina coladas. And then we were at Virgin has the Bimini Club. That's part of there in the Bahamas. So, you know, golf carts and all that good stuff. But we had ourselves a wonderful time.
Well, great. I got a lot of things I want to catch up on. So,
Well, Reggie, you too
hold
right
on,
away.
hold on, hold on. Let me catch up, and then you can catch up. So then, my friend, you're telling me that you're traveling to a couple of film festivals. Next thing I know is that we might have like cross paths in the air as you were in France at Cannes. I never say it right anyway, but
Yeah, right.
but but I heard you also had a good time there.
I went to Cannes and I was there for this time, I was there for a week. I think maybe next year I'll do 2 weeks, but I was there for a week. Um, Really, really enjoyed it. The weather was beautiful. It was not as warm as last year, but it still was beautiful. You know, we just watched movies and sat by the French Riviera.
So here's my question. You don't need to tell me what the movie is about. I want to know what was the your favorite, and I know it's going to be an international film because that's just how you roll. What was your favorite film that you saw while you
One of
were
my
there?
favorite films was Congo Boy. It's about this young Congolese family that is they're refugees in Central Africa, and actually both of his parents are imprisoned, and how he uses winning a rap music contest, winning that money to get his parents and reunite his family as well at the same time start off his recording career.
Wow. Well, I look forward to seeing it. All right, so you did that, and then there was one more trip that I'm probably missing after this movie trip. Where else you go after that?
Okay, well then I was domestically. I went to Miami for ABFF. Then from ABFF, went to Philadelphia for Roots Picnic. Literally
Oh,
Saturday, went straight to Roots Picnic. I took a late night, got to Philadelphia at midnight. Where once again I'm a planner, so I get to my rental car spot to pick up the vehicle. And I'm like, how y'all talking about this is all you have left when I made my reservation a month ago? Months ago. With the Mitsubishi. Can I just tell you on day two, you know how you have the clicker?
yeah.
You know, you can alarm.
Boop, boop.
my battery died. So I had to keep using the key to open and then go in to open the trunk. Oh, I was fit. So when I came back to Philadelphia to cover the Haiti Philadelphia game, I was Alamo National, they're all the same people, and they tried to give me a Mitsubishi. I said, no, I'm gonna go domestic. I went with the Chevy Blazer, which is probably not a bad vehicle. They were like, oh, we can no, ma'am. The last time y'all gave me a car, and I, of course, you'd make sure that the clicker was working, because I said, what we not about to do is do the whole business. I don't ask for a lot, but I want to get into the car.
So
not
you
looking like I'm trying to break into the car.
so you've been traveling and doing a whole lot of stuff, and that's been fantastic. Now I want to talk to you about World Cup because
Let's talk about it, because it's been really fun.
because I am not watching. I don't even care. It is not my favorite sport. It is not even in the top 10 of my sports. But everybody else I know, all they care about is World Cup. My understanding, I don't know if you know this, but I visited Brazil, so I know something about Brazilians, and I get tired of you with your post about what's Brazil and what ain't Brazil. I'm Brazilian because I went down there and they embraced me, and I played basketball in Brazil. But I will tell you this: I'm wearing my Brazil hat for those who can't see. My understanding that there no work happens in Brazil during the World Cup. My understanding,
here in America.
My understanding, you can't even get a ice cream in Brazil when the World Cup is going, because you could be right there at the stand and the person is there to service you, but they're leaning on the counter watching the game.
Well, here's the thing. How can I put this? Yeah. So I told somebody, if you plan on being sick, I suggest you do it beforehand. Like, it is, the whole country stops. The whole country has what they call is cup fever, and like even the favelas, the streets are painted, there's graffiti, there's beautiful art created for the World Cup. It is, I have tried to explain it to Americans, and I said the Super Bowl is no. I mean, like, America, you can't even get people in America, as much as the Super Bowl is pushing to be more of an international event. I'm like, you can't get Americans to care sometimes about the Super Bowl unless their team is in it. Now you've got more people tuning in for the halftime show than the actual game, because some of the artists are bigger than anything that's going on the field, right? So there's so many variables, but I'm like, there is no World Series, there's no NBA Finals. And one thing that was interesting is that the Dutch team was in New York when the game 3 of the Knicks was happening, game 2 of game 3, and they're in Times Square. You've got Virgil, one of the all-time legends for the Netherlands, with the everyday people watching the Knicks final, right? Because basketball, I feel like, is that sport for America that hits internationally. Got some similarities with soccer, football, because you just need a ball, right? You don't even need an official.
And if I may, and I'm really so happy that you mentioned this, is that I was just talking to somebody about that, is that the reason most people in America have at least shot a basketball, even if they haven't played basketball. And most people around the world where soccer is king have kicked the ball, even though they've never played, may have never even run up and down the pitch. I mean, they might not have never done that, but they've kicked a soccer ball. That's because both of those sports only need a ball. You don't need gym shoes. You don't even need a court. For soccer, you can make anything your goalpost. For basketball, you can get a milk crate and put the
pop out the bottom and just
pop out the bottom and that's it. So you are so right that there's so many similarities, because it really is, while it's expensive to go to any of these games, it really is the poor man's sport. So I'm sorry,
It is
I had to
no,
jump
no,
in.
no, no, no. It is a poor. It's a working class sport, and the problem is, I'm glad you kind of hinted. You can still go. Working class people go to premier games, go to La Liga, go to Series A. They go to these games, right? Whereas in America, I think baseball is one of the few things that you can still go to, but even that depends on what city and how well the team is doing. But in America, soccer is an elitist sport, and it's not. It's a working class sport. That's why you can go to your average pub, your average bar in Brazil, or you can go to the favelas or whatever. That's why the player pool in Brazil majority grew up in the favela and working class families. It is accessible. The amount of money that people have to pay for their kids to play, instead of the investment by the clubs being made, is the big thing, right? And again, it's that's why people here are really like, when people come here from other countries and they hear the prices. Don't get me wrong, like, I am not a fan of FIFA. FIFA is as corrupt as anything, right? But when you see that, you're pricing out the people that wear the club jerseys, the people who have been fans, just like, you have Bears fans from grandfather to son to grandson and maybe great grandson, right? You're pricing out those people because you want to have more executive suites and whatever the heck else you feel, right? And that's a shame. And now, especially with the expand from, I want to say 32 to 48, you now are bringing in nations that haven't been to the World Cup. People who had to root for other teams like Haiti, Curacao, Congo, Cabo Verde, who
We got
waited
we
30,
got
40,
Senegal,
50.
we got Ghana.
But Senegal and Ghana have been before.
I know,
like,
but I'm just so happy.
Yeah.
I just want to mention my African countries, though.
Of course, but I'm saying, like, you have people who are older than us who waited their whole entire lives to hear the national anthem of their country being played at the World Cup, and then people can't go. Now, let's speak about the African countries. So I'm glad you mentioned this. People are like, where are all the Africans? And same thing for Brazil. People are like, where's this diversity and fan base? Where is this? We have, not to get political, but we got to tell the truth. There are people who can't afford to come that don't want to come because of the immigration policy, and people have gotten on a plane, gotten here, and then been rejected, paid for stuff. So people are like, I'm not doing that, number one. Number two, right? Again, you have people who are living here legally that don't want to go to games because their fear of being swept up in some ICE raid. Those things are legit, right? And then you also have people from the African nations like Ghana, Senegal, Ivory Coast that can't come, but want to come, have the money to come because they can't get a visa, a tourist visa.
That's right. That's right.
So these are all things that are in the background. And again, I will never defend FIFA. And FIFA has done a poor job. And let's not even talk about what they've done to the Iranian team. I just want us to think about this, that imagine American athletes are going to world championships and going to things abroad, and that country goes, well, we have beef with the United States, so the athletes can't compete here. Or you can compete here, but you can't set up camp here. You have to set up camp in, let's say something's happening in Italy. Well, you can fly in the day before to run at your event, but then you got to get back to, I don't know, you got to make your base camp Germany. Like, Americans would never accept that, but it's a lot going on. But the point of the matter is, I'm a fan of it being expanded, because I think some of the best stories coming out of this World Cup has been these smaller nations, and people are like, who cares if they win? The joy of the Haitian people, the fact that people are learning about Cabo Verde, right? Another one of these former Portuguese colonies, and they are in Africa. Don't call them Latinos. They are an African country. Let's get at the map and let's get ourselves together. And just the fact that, Boizinho, who had a clean slate, I was about to, it sounded like something else. He went having, I don't know, he had like maybe 20,000 followers. He now has over 10 million followers. A guy that has always played in like a BC league, right, as a professional footballer. I'm not saying that to shade. I'm just saying that he's been a journeyman in his pursuit of playing, being a professional. He has more followers than Patrick Mahomes. And that's something else I need people to understand. The average footballer makes more money than the top guys in the NFL and has a higher, since we care about social media following, than that. You know what I mean? And the other thing too is Reggie, we also got to talk about, I always say it, Black people are global. The fact that people are still stunned that the majority of these Latin American countries have Black players, that the German team is half Black, that there isn't a team, including Bosnia, that doesn't have a Black player. Some of this is colonialism, but some of this is also, some of these GIs, when they were overseas, they got busy. You know what I'm saying?
I was gonna mention that, but we will be talking about soccer forever.
But I'm just saying, like, people are very astonished that there are Black people in Austria, there are Black people in Germany. I was like, we've been global.
And the reason I was going to mention is because which is a whole nother discussion. So don't even comment, because there's a racism that is rampant in soccer, and you've talked about it on a number of occasions on some of your posts. One of the posts that I saw that you talked about, and you're not going to talk about it today because we don't have time.
Because I said my piece on it, but
one of them was about how are you going to say those people are not from France? That and anyway, we will get back to next.
But no, but I will say that I think the way to convert you would be, we would have to get on a plane. Either next time you and I both in Brazil, we go to Maracanã, we'll get you a jersey, we'll surround you by all the crazy people and have you in the festivities, yelling the chants and all that good business. And I think then it will hit you where you're like, I hope you heard the game yesterday between Brazil and Scotland, because the Scottish fans, shout out to the Scots, they done put out, they done shut down cities, right? I thought the Brazilians were something, but the Scots, whoo, but bless their heart, because they've been having a good time, as they should. But Landon Donovan was like, I have been playing the sport for a very, very long time. I've never been in a soccer football stadium between the Brazilian fans on one side, the Scottish fans on another. He was like, this is insane in a good way. And also, Reggie, the reason Chicago could have had a couple games where Chicago said no, but I know for a fact that Chicago is a huge football city, a lot of immigrants. I know a lot of bars where stuff was flowing, even on the south. I know even on the south side.
People are so upset that it's not here. But let's move into a little bit of movie talk. All right. So
let's do it.
I got a couple of short things I want to talk about. So that means you got to be short.
Yeah,
the short things that I want to talk about are, because we haven't talked about for a long time. The first thing I want to talk about, I'm just going to give you the word because I know you got a word on this one, is that God Is only made just about $5 million. That's all that film made. I think that's a shame personally, and I'd like to hear your thoughts.
Marketing promotion. You got to get people out and in front of the people. We talked about this. I don't know what these strategies are with these people that don't follow film and television. You know what I mean? Also, it was around the same time that Boots Riley's I Love Boosters, and I don't know why they make Black films compete with one another. Also, they didn't have access to as many screens. Not having screenings in other major cities where people wanted to see, right? And again, we got to talk about the marketing and the strategy. You know what I mean? Not enough people having access to speak to the talent. You know, it's a lot of those things. the marketing push has to be out there. I mean, I look at, obviously, Is Goddess doesn't have the marketing budget of a Spider-Man, but they're going city to city to city. I understand that broadcast television is not what it used to be, but we still, us Black people, it's like they think podcasts have replaced Black radio, and Black radio is still a thing. Black radio, I know my mama, a lot of people in that generation have relationships. They may not listen to all of the shows, but I know, for instance, in Philadelphia, people listen to Patty Jackson. I don't know who the person in Chicago, but there's got to be a Chicago version of a Patty Jackson that's held that time slot on the old school station for 20, 30 years that the aunties listen to. Why are they not going on these channels to do an interview? It's got to be more than just a Breakfast Club, because my mama don't listen to the Breakfast Club. My mama don't care about the Breakfast Club. Same thing in BLS. There is a generation of, we are so fixated on marketing at 18 to 25 that we don't realize that there's a generation of older people who are retired or almost retired that still go to the movies, love going to the movies. They're not at the movies at 9 o'clock at night, that the movies are 2 o'clock, maybe 11 o'clock, but they got money to go to the movies and nobody's marketing to them.
I feel that. So I want to throw one other thing out on Is God Is, and get one more thought from you, and I want to move on to another movie if we can.
Yeah, of course.
My thought on Is God Is that the word of mouth didn't carry this movie. And I am shocked that the word of mouth didn't carry this movie, because I thought that it was a very provocative piece of filmmaking, and that the two young ladies were really, really good here. So I'd like to get your thought about why you think word of mouth, because sometimes you don't need a marketing machine. The word of mouth takes over. If somebody likes it, they'll be like, girl, you got to go see this one. You got to go see this one. Any thoughts there?
Again, when you have influencer screenings in Atlanta, they get the wrong people. They get these younger girls, a lot of girls that were not, or they do this regurgitated script that we're not familiar with the Broadway play. And it's not organic. It's feeling like you're selling to people, right? And again, I feel like the young lady that ended up being unalived at the end of it, she's a huge Broadway star, but if you're not familiar, where is the theater people to talk about her? Tara, who is amazing, who is a Tony Award winner, right? I saw her on Broadway in Cephas Jones in the play about the sandwich shop, right? But I'm just like, we gotta think outside of the box. I feel like there's a formula, Reggie, and you can correct me if I'm wrong. Rinse, repeat. Same. We got to get these type of influences. We got to get these type of people, this, that, and the third. And there's no thought, rhyme, or reason. It's very, like, I feel like people are how can I say this? Are exhausted of being sold to. It doesn't seem like you are authentically, like, I feel like when you and I talk about a film, it's coming from a genuine place. We're not trying to sell you something. And I think right now, with times being hard, people are willing to go to the movies. People are looking for escapism, but people want to feel that you genuinely, love something. You're not selling it to me because you got a check to sell it. Does that make sense? Ooh, are you on mute?
I guess I was on mute, and I didn't know it.
Yeah, go ahead.
But I know that makes a lot of sense, and I did want to get your thoughts on that. Two more movies real quick. The first one is I don't have a lot to say about it other than that it made $960 million at the box office, which was Michael, and I was very pleased to see that it did really, really well at the box office. Any thoughts?
Not surprised. Michael Jackson is still the highest and most important. We don't have 1511 discussions about why Michael Jackson resonates, and we talked about how you can go anywhere in the world and America's most biggest exports are Michael Jackson, Coca-Cola, and then maybe McDonald's is a third, right? There are parts of the world, and I know it's hard for people to believe that people don't know who Beyonce is, but they know who Michael Jackson is. They can tell you, sing the songs, whether it's from the Jackson 5, whether it's his solo catalog. They know, everybody knows Michael Jackson dance move. His IP is so strong that the critics not liking it or whatever, this was not made for you. This was made for the fans. Remember, people, they weren't sure they're going to make a part 2. All of a sudden, it's like, yeah, we're making a part 2. Were there some things that were a little incomplete? Yes. But this is for all them. Like when I went to my screening, people having Michael Jackson dance-offs. People came in the costumes, whether it was young Michael, Jackson 5 Michael. People came in the Thriller era, Off the Wall era. Whatever you have, you know, it just made people feel good. It's been a long time since, other than like Marvel or whatever, right? Since people got dressed up for a movie.
All right. Well, then my last movie that I want to touch base on, because I thought 960 million was a lot, so good for Michael and them. Last movie I want
to made more money internationally than it did domestically. His brand was always, once he became a solo artist, even with everything, his brand was always, and not to mention, I don't know in your screening, but people were singing along in my screening.
Oh, people were dancing. The last movie I want to bring up is Scary Movie. Is that it tells you how to make sure a franchise stays alive is by making sure you use the people who created the franchise, because these boys, this family, because I don't want to say these boys because we got Kim back this time, you know. This family really knows what they're doing, and wow, what a triumph they did by coming back with Scary Movie.
I mean, yeah, it's an IP, and again, people are looking for escapism. You know, if you don't want to see Superman, blah blah blah, and all that other stuff, you know, they are really excited to see that. But I will say this is that I need Marlon to stop going on the internet and arguing with folks. Like, you know that you're not going to get critical acclaim, and that's fine. You keep saying you're making movies for the people, then stick with that and stop arguing with people. Like if somebody, it's like trying to make somebody your friend that you know don't like you. So why are you trying to be friends with that person?
I agree, and so this is an and. I understand the push and pull between doing it because you're doing it for the people, but also looking for the recognition that you like to have. I'm just saying I understand that. Is that I don't do movies. I'm not a film critic because I want an award. But if I got the award, I'm not gonna be upset about it. I'm not gonna be like, nah, no, Oscar people, don't give me an honorary Oscar because there's a reason why we have black award shows and there are the other big ones. And it's funny. I know Ryan Coogler may say, you know, I don't really care, but when he went home with his Oscars, I don't know if he say, let me get these back. So I hear you. Is that, yeah, Marlon, maybe you don't argue with these people, but yeah, Marlon, I understand how you want that critical acclaim as well, because what you guys are doing is very, very smart and deeper than just a joke.
Yeah, but again, like here's my thing is, Marlon, you have gotten critical acclaim for your work when you've done dramatic roles. Like for the Aretha Franklin movie, he won a few people that actually somebody said, oh, okay, he got good reviews.
I understand, but that's different from making your own IP, writing your own stuff, and then people basically dismissing it as buffoonery or silliness. I'm sorry, my friend. I understand how you could look for both of those things. Now, the wonderful thing is when you can when it doesn't care, when it doesn't when you don't care, when it doesn't really impact what you do. And I do think that Ryan Coogler, he it's not his goal. So the fact that he got it is
He's
what you
got, I
call
think for this film, it meant something because this is, I think for Black Panther, he's expanding someone else's idea. And it's not that he's not appreciative. And I think also for Creed, he's again building out someone else's idea. This was his passion project.
yeah, and
So I
that's
think it meant
that's
a
how
little differently.
and that's how I think that the Wayans do. But hey, let's move on to our movies for the day. The first one, oh, you and I, because we've been crisscrossing the world, we have not watched the same movies, and I don't understand what our problem is. But that's all right. That's all right. This is a movie that I really actually wanted to see, so I'm very interested in hearing you talk a little bit about it. Steven Spielberg comes back to direct. Did he direct for real? Steven, this pulled him out from behind the producing chair to say, I'm going to write something and I'm gonna direct something in this disclosure day. Talk to me about this film. What's your thoughts here?
I enjoyed it, but I like a cerebral. Jasper, we need to get ourselves together here, friend. I like a cerebral film, right? Which means I like a film that's a little bit more analytical. It's basically Emily Blunt and Josh O'Connor play these two people that had an interaction with an extraterrestrial when they were kids, and then somehow it became like it erased out of their minds. Then Josh O'Connor was a hacker, went to jail, and then got recruited by like the CIA, whatever the people are, right? And then he discovered, along with what's his name,
Colin Firth.
Coleman Domingo, that the government was covering up, right? And they were out there experimenting and using the power and all this other stuff. Well, Emily Blunt, meanwhile, is this struggling weather girl that wants to be an anchor girl. And she then all of a sudden starts having these flashes and she starts hearing things and all of that. And all what happened to them starts triggering and then sets off a series of events. Meanwhile, Coleman Domingo goes rogue with a bunch of people, along with, Josh O'Connor, who stole the technology. They have to connect in order to reveal to the world what the government has. And Colin Firth is the guy that's the government person to, try to keep everything under wraps. But it really is, I think this is Emily's best performance that I've seen in her in a while. I think she has not been terrible. Like, I think she was really misused in The Devil Wears Prada too. But I feel like in this, she was really good. And Josh has been on a run. Like, he just has been from Challengers to Knives Out to this. And, Coleman is always very solid. But, it just goes into all of these things that the government lies to you, that there is, that we have made first contact, and that the government is using it to, for their own advantages, to harness the technology and all that. It just goes into all of that. I enjoyed it. I did. You're mute again. I don't know why you keep muting.
I was saying it didn't really seem to rock the box office. However, it did about 83 million here in the States and did another 82 million internationally. So I'm not sure what did this one cost to make. I'm not sure what it cost to make, but I'm sure they weren't probably pleased with these numbers. But this is one I want to see. So obviously, when it comes to streaming, I will check it out. Well, thank you for that. Let's move on to the film that I saw, which is Supergirl. And I'm gonna preface my whole Supergirl thing with I did not love the reboot for the DC with Superman. I felt that what they did with Superman is they crammed everything in it to tell us that it was a reboot, as opposed to just giving me the Superman story. So for me, when I got ready to do Supergirl, I didn't even like Supergirl in the Superman movie, but um, the the thing the things that got me here is that the first thing when you look at what it's about is that Kara Zor-El, who is Supergirl, is she's really celebrating life and she's drinking herself into a drunken stupor. And but then she gets caught up in a battle with Krim, who is terrorizing planets and enslaving young girls. And when asked to help a young girl named Ruthie to avenge Krim's killing of her parents, Kara declines. But once Krim poisons Crypto, you know that's her dog, she joins the fight in order to save the dog. So who's in it? You got Millie Alcock, Matthias Sonarts, Eve Ridley, and Jason Momoa. And I liked a couple of things about this. If you like an anti-hero, Supergirl, I think is really that right prescription. She doesn't really want to be like her cousin Clark, aka Superman, who is duty bound and just an overall nice guy. She really wants to be a normal person and therefore hides on red planets where her super abilities are powerless. So that gives you a sense. And I when you look at Supergirl and Ruthie, both of them for me were irritating. It might be because it could be my male bias, and I want to say that out front, because we get characters like this on the male stage, so it could be a male bias or whatever. But it also could be is that I just don't have any sympathy for these down and out heroes who got like all these problems. She drinking herself into a stupor. She doesn't want to be a superhero. The young girl is bratty and can't Ruthie can't follow any instructions. Those people just don't. I guess I don't flock to them. It reminds me of children in my house, and I just want them to do better, do better, do better. But I think what the writers do well is convince us to take sides on who we want Supergirl to be. Do we want her to be the hero who saves Ruthie and the galaxy, or the individual who is looking for her own path? I think what they do well is that this movie is Supergirl's story. It is her story. So you learn about who she is, why she is, how she is, and why her parents sent her. And not only why her parents sent her, because their planet was being destroyed, but what her parents wanted her to go off and be and go off to do. So I just think that they do a good job. If you're looking for action, they have some good action in there and some good fighting. Interesting with Jason Momoa, they found another role for him, and he does a good job. I think overall this one works. Is it, to me, it's better than Superman? Is this a slam dunk? I don't think they slam dunked it, but they might have for the audience that they might be getting. Because if they're looking for young women and young girls, this should stick. It should stick. You and I talk about this, about how these movies may or may not have the right marketing. This one might stick, and so we'll need to see. It comes out soon, shortly tomorrow, and we'll be able to see what that looks like. The last thing I want to say about this movie, though, I am so tired, and see, this is going to rub you the wrong way, Katya.
Go ahead.
I don't love my dog like that. Y'all dog lovers, you people, and I'm saying you people love y'all dogs so much. So we get John Wick, and he's gonna go into a fight because somebody killed his dog. We get Halle Berry in John Wick. She gets mad because somebody did something to her dog. Now we get Supergirl. She's the only reason she even thinks about helping humanity is because she's gonna help her dog, and it just so happens that humanity is gonna get the benefit of that as well. Y'all dog lovers be killing me. It's interesting. You will pick your doggies over the us humans who need y'all so much. Anyway, that's just me. I think this is a good one to see. I think it was fun. I think they did a nice job with it.
Do you? And first of all, why is Jason Momoa in the entire like DC? Like, does he have like? I don't. I'm confused on that. But do you feel like she can stand on her own, like this character on their own?
I think that they established her in a way that they can build on this. Now they have to be smart because you do know female superheroes don't get the same kind of reception, and that's why I want to speak to my male bias because I can't wait to hear what young girls, young women are saying about this movie because I'm interested. Will men flock to this movie to go see it? And I think the reason, not I don't know about Momoa's contract, but I think the reason that you get somebody like a Krim and Momoa in the movie is that that's to kind of cater to that whole male superhero dominated universe, if you will, to make sure that you have some of that male stuff in there. And Superman does make an appearance here too as well. I think she could. I think that it's all into in the writing, and you and I talk about this all the time. That the writing is really, really important.
I mean, okay. I mean, I was just curious if you think, but we'll see, this weekend how people show up at the box office.
Absolutely. So then the last movie, which is the blockbuster movie of the year, I have not seen it. That is because I was not in town for the screening. You probably went to a screening where Tom Hanks was there, and you and him just chit chatted and had a good time and everything. I'm so jealous of you. That's all I can say. I forget who sang that song, fellas. There's a jealous girl in our town or whatever. But I'm jealous of you for sure because you probably was watching it with Tom Hanks and Kiki with him.
It was not. I did get to hang out with Craig Robinson. A couple of things. All right. I think it's really important that people understand that Woody and Buzz are the side characters. They're not the main. I mean, also we gotta understand. Well, how old is Tom Hanks? He in his 60s, right? So, I mean, I'm not saying that he can't do certain things, but at that age, you gotta, we gotta get to Joan Cusack is really Jessie is the star because it's about her and her child. By the time we get, because I was like, what are we getting in Toy Story 5? Buzz is still with the toys. Woody and Mary Had a Lamb, they're in the toys, quote unquote, retirement home, right? The landfill or whatever you want to call it, right? We still get Keanu Reeves as Duke, but what happens is that Jessie, and her child, they are playing and they're having a really, really good time. And then technology comes in, for lack of a better word, iPad, right? Lily pad. And all her friends, and she's also, I want to say she's an awkward child, but she's a child that moves a little bit differently, right? She dances to her own beat, is the best way that I can put it. And so you have that situation, right? So she's not popular and she's not getting invited to sleepovers, but Lily Pad allows her to join that community of kids in her dance class. And Lily Pad is like, this is how I'm going to get her connected and all of this, right? Whereas Jessie is like, you can't treat every child like a generic IP. You have to get to know a child, understand what makes a child tick. That's why playing is great, right? And then you can decide what friend group, right? And it turns out to be that she then abandons the toys for the technology, and it's toys versus technology, who's right, who's wrong, and it just sets off a whole bunch. And we also get a love story between Buzz and Jesse. Buzz has a thing for Jesse, but this is really Jesse is leading the barrage as far as toys, with a VIP appearance from Woody. But I think it's a very important message that a lot of people now, I'm not talking about kids that are special needs or autistic. I'm not talking to you parents. I'm talking about the parents. It's in many ways, remember when people used to use the television to babysit their kids, right? And again, we all are doing the best that we can. In many ways, you see kids are now in restaurants and they're not even eating. They're eating with the iPad on there. I get it on the plane. I mean, listen, I traveled with our daughter when she was a toddler. But it's like some kids don't know, they freak out unless the iPad is there, right? And again, I get it for these road trips. We too had the personal DVD player, like when we drove, and it just made things a little bit easier. But how much are we making our kids, your parents are out there who are like, I don't want my kid on social media until they're 15 or 16, but your kid is on the iPad. You hand your kid the phone. So how much are we making our kids drones of technology versus having them play and be in the world? So that is really the messaging. But it's so done so cute. And it's not just for kids. It also, us as adults, we're all addicted to our phones as well. So I think it's a really cute message.
When you look at this franchise, do you remember when this franchise first started? What year, if at all? And the reason I ask this question is that you're talking about how it's not just a message for the kids. It makes sense that it would be a message for
1995.
So if you think about this, that is over 30 years ago. And that means that we as parents who had kids 30 years ago, we went to see this first Toy Story movie and we have an investment in these characters. So I find it very refreshing that they're able to keep them alive and keep them going. But what strikes me the most is that it feels like, and I could be wrong, so I'd love to get your thoughts on this, but it feels like Hollywood is understanding the power of the woman. Is that women are 52% of the box office, and we don't make films necessarily directed toward them. But the two of the movies we've talked about, which is Toy Story 5 and Supergirl, are directed toward girls, are telling the girl story. And I think that that's important. Any thoughts there?
Yeah, I mean, girls, there are more girls than there are boys in this world. Women, when something resonates with us, we're more willing to spend money, and also moms are the decision makers when it comes to the toys that we buy for our kids and things like that. So all of that makes sense, all of that makes sense.
But Hollywood is not always, I don't know, hasn't always understood that, and we know that because we see what types of movies are greenlit and what types of movies have those big budgets. One of the things that you talk about all the time is that you look at a girl-centered movie like Is God Is, and you get nothing.
But I also think we have to figure out we're very lazy in how we market to people. Like I was in CinemaCon, not this year, but the year before, where someone said they hired influencers they were on a panel and they said, we hired influencers for 1001 to market that movie. And when we all said it missed an opportunity, the movie should have came out Mother's Day, there should have been themes around mothering. But you didn't hire the right influencers because you went with the young girls instead of hiring women that are 30 and over that are moms. Because they're looking at the follower account and not at the engagement. Who speaks to that audience? Because it's lazy.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And I'm not mad at any influencer that's taking a check, get your money. But you gotta learn to, like, okay, you're a basketball guy, right? That is your thing. If I were doing something on summer leagues or, you know, rec leagues or whatever the thing is, you would be the perfect candidate because you could not only talk about Chicago, but you probably know about New York, Philly, what that culture is like, why that, how that game has influenced the quote unquote structured game, whatever you have there. Why do you still have 40, 50-year-old men, you know, willing to dislocate or whatever, playing in rec leagues? Because you're a guy that's over 50 that still plays and you enjoy playing, and you're not, you know, you're not in a wheelchair. As long as you have the ability. Now, can you do what you did maybe 30 years ago, but you still enjoy the game, you enjoy the camaraderie, you do enjoy the community. So therefore that will make sense. Now, if I came to you and be like, well, Reggie likes basketball, so therefore I should hire him
for
to
soccer.
talk about the World Cup, you would be like, oh, and give you that same concept. Tell me about the pickup games. What are the leagues for 40 and over men? You would be like, I'm not that guy.
I would, and I want to say that's one of the things I like about our network, getting back to the Real Critics Network, is that our network, I think we do a good job of referring when we are not the expert in that area. And I love that because I've seen you do it. I know I have done it and said, no, you need to talk to somebody else. Now, I will say that I don't like to refer any interview with Coleman Domingo to you because you guys kiki too much. Y'all have too much fun. I want Coleman Domingo to myself. And so I'm just going to let you know, if everybody ever say, hey, Reggie, we got Coleman, I'm never, ever referring him back to you because you and him just have too much fun.
But it's just like I said, it is daunting how, you know, people don't understand that because nobody has the courage to say this is not the right person. And I'm going to tell you what, this is not that person, because they just care. And this is how you have, like, what is something else we complain about, right? People get mad that influencers go to events, premieres, and this has been said by people in New York and LA especially, right? They go to premieres, they have their picture taken on the carpet, or they get upset that nobody recognizes them on the carpet, right? But the studios invited them and they don't stay for the movie. They just come for the picture up and leave or go to the party. But then you see them doing a whole reel, a whole thing about that thing. And you're like, but you didn't even see the movie. But the studios keep inviting them because they want that $1 million or $500,000 following. So until somebody in the studio goes, you have to attend, we need to know, because that's the standard for us. We have to sit through the movie. We can't do a drive-by, right? We can't do I don't feel, and Lord knows we done sat through some stuff where you're like, damn, I wish I can get my 3 hours back. I mean, I talked about how I saw a movie, A Cut, that was over 3 hours. I mean, I literally fell asleep, woke up, and I was like, okay, this got to be like another 40 minutes. No, it ended up being another hour and a half. I was so done for when I got out. I was fried. I couldn't see nothing else. So I'm saying a lot of this is when you don't hold people accountable or you have no one in the room to say, we got to get the right people. Influencer culture, it's not going away. No, but we need to get the right people to the right thing. That's the problem. And again, I want to also be clear, because somebody's going to listen to this. We're not saying that Is God is going to make Michael Jackson money. Like, we're not dumb. Like, we know this. But there was a potential, and we also know that these movies get a limited amount of screens, that they will tend towards more like metropolitan cities, art house movie studios, movies, theaters. We understand that. But in order for the screens to expand that opening weekend, right, you also have to make sure that the right people are hosting screenings. Like if you have the girl Pinky from Vegan People, whatever, right? Her hosting a screening, she doesn't even come from a movie world, and you see her reading from like postcards. Again, it goes back to what I'm saying. It's inauthentic. You're just there catching a check.
Nah, that
Who thought that was a good partnership? Who thought that was a good idea? Oh, well, she's popular and she's in this and she's getting ready. And the thinking was she was getting ready to be in the Real Housewives of Atlanta. But reality TV and this ain't got ish to do with one another.
Yeah, no, you
So
preaching.
that is the problem. I think whereas with, I think, again, I understand. I want to be very clear because I know, again, we are not in a time where people are very good at listening and comprehending. DC, Warner Brothers has way more money. However, but DC is going to do a better job of partnering with the comic book girlies, the comic book nerds, the girls that live, that go to Comic-Con, that cosplay, that live for this, right? They probably partner with them because that's the right group of people. They're not partnering with the girlies that are into romance novels. That's all we're saying. Like, understand who should be the right person leading the conversation, period.
Well, you led that conversation. I really appreciate you. Look, y'all, we are going to be more regular because we will at least do 2 a month because we got a lot to talk about. And we're getting into the second half of the year. We're already there, believe it or not. My last comment for the day, and I'm gonna let you have the last
No,
comment.
you should. What I want to ask you something afterwards, real quick. Go for
Well, my
it.
last comment was going to be is that Brazil is number 1 in World Cup Group C, and they beat Scotland's Booty 3-0. And if you don't know the star player on Brazil, all I want to say to you is that you need to look this young man up. That's all. That's my last word. What you got?
We still got work to do, but we're moving in the right direction. And the young gunners, the people that people didn't expect, are doing what they need to do. And Neymar's hobbling along. So, you know, he allegedly he's getting back to himself. We'll see as we embark on this very next important. The next game will tell us who is really going to show up. But I want to ask you, Reggie, like, we're getting ready to the second part. We're going to have the Spider-Man. We still have Odyssey, which I'm really looking forward to seeing. We're going to have a lot of The Rock again. We got Moana with the bag wig. He's on the global tours in China, and then we're going to have him later on in Jumanji Part 400. Did you know this was also the 25th anniversary of the Fast and the Furious? So I got to ask you, because my husband loves the movie. Do you think, because I feel like this is a guy franchise, do you feel we need another one? Is there another story to be told without it seeming like recycled and we're just getting people that can't get other movie parts together?
I want to say that I must have lost my love for this franchise maybe about the 4th movie. It could have been the 5th. But when you started having these regular everyday people falling out of buildings and surviving, they became superheroes versus where they started. For me, the allure of that franchise was that these were some regular guys who drove cars fast, disobeyed the law, had some I guess conflict with the world, but they weren't superheroes. These guys have now turned into such superheroes that they can't die unless they got to go off and do a Wonder Woman movie. Um, they just multiply. So I don't love this franchise like I did in its early days. Do I think we need another one? I do not. Am I happy to say one of the things that you talk about all the time? Ludacris, get that check.
I'm not mad at anybody getting a check, but let's not act like you're giving us things that are deep. And as I was looking at the 25th, and I'm sure there's some DVD and some other stuff coming out, and they were at Con, and Con was very nostalgic. They did a Top Gun at the beach. They did some cool stuff. I'm really like, let it go. Let it go.
Yeah,
and every time they tell us it's the final one, by God, we get an. I just feel like it's check chasing. And also, I'm like, Ludacris, you're not a terrible actor. Are there no other parts for you?
Yeah, it'd be interesting because I think that I wish they would give him. I wish he would have some other ones as well. So my thought is, am I looking forward to another one? No, I am not. I I wish we could get back to the days of really just racing the cars in the street and doing the things that they do versus cars going from building to building, people falling out of helicopters, stealing safes from the cartel. It does become just total escapism, and I can't see. In the beginning, I could see myself as either knowing one of those people or wanting to be one of those people, at least from a driving perspective. Today, I have no affinity, no connection with who these people have become, and they've just become something that is unrecognizable to me. So we'll see another one and we'll get it. But in talking about another one, we will be back.
We will be back, and we will see. Will I be in tears? My money, as much as I love Brazil, my money's still on France. Because
there we go.
As much as Vinny's balling out, Mbappe is really like he's on something else.
Well,
he is. I feel like he saw that performance by Messi, and he said, "Hold my beer. I'm gonna be out here. I'm gonna be out here." And that French man is having, as Megan would say, he's having a hot boy summer, and he only getting started. And I love that for him. I love that whole team. I love that team disturbs so many people. But and the secret in that sauce is Elise, because that man has been assisting, just making all the play, and that's important. They play as a team. I said that's a problem with Brazil. Brazil needs to understand they have to play as a team, whereas France, and what's even worse is what really is crushing, but it's also beautiful. The bench is loaded.
Yeah. When you have
the bench is loaded, like I mean, it's like the coach is like, okay, like this game 3 for France, who are we going to see out there? Because it is decadent, but it's a good time, and I hope everybody is having a good time. I will say this, Reggie, I said this before. I said the beauty about the World Cup is a lot of people, there's a lot of good stuff going on in the country. We're not going to go into it. We see it on the news, but somebody said it best. I don't know, and forgive me, I wish I knew the person's name. They said, people are discovering that America is like a family. The children aren't the problem, it's the parents. The way people are loving and discovering Southern cuisine, the Waffle House. Somebody went and a German guy went and got lemon pepper wings from Magic City. How they've gone to Buc-ee's and are like impressed with that. I love seeing that. And I think that people coming together from different nations, different backgrounds, even though they're cheering for opposing teams, leaving the stadium hand in hand. And I'm going to say it again, Mexican people are top tier, some of the best people in the world. I hope a lot of y'all that have some of these sentiments learn and see how amazing Mexican people are. Just top-notch people, like really, really amazing. That's been the best part about this World Cup, people coming together, having a beer, and just being reminded that there's still some good left. I think we needed that.
Yeah, I totally agree. Well, talking about amazing, you just heard from amazing. That's Katya Woods. I'm Reggie Ponder. Katya, where can people find you?
You can find me at KATHIA_Woods and Katya 1970 on the TikTok. But we will, and you also can read my stuff, some of my World Cup coverage on the Philadelphia Tribune. I've been on the front page. We've been having ourselves a good time. And then also you can see some of my fan interviews at cupofsoulshow.com, as well as on the YouTube channel. And shout out to everybody that's been stopping and chit-chatting. And just we've been having a good time, doing us.
Well, that's good. Well, you can find me at Indigo, sometimes at Chicago Sun-Times. You can also go to ReggiePonder.com, and we will see you guys next time. We're out.
Bye.